they opened up a little small track in Danville called the Dixie Speedway, and they wanted to get some black drivers, and they thought they didn't know who to approach, so they went to the police department to find out what black guys had speeding records and things like that. So they told them they want somebody to drive a race car to see me. So that's how I started racing.
As Matt told us earlier, trying to become the first African-American driver since Willie T. Ribbs and join Randy Bethea and the great Wendell Scott.
He did he drove the car exactly what the car wanted him to do. He got out early. It looked like a little tight, but he kept in the throttle and he got a good lap, and wow, way to go.
There you go.
Woo-hoo. That's it.
That man, Tony Schumacher, wins. He is the champion for an 8th time. But Antron Brown, if Tony Schumacher loses, becomes the first African-American to win an NHRA title. 376, Antron Brown is the top fuel champion.
These need to be the best 7 laps of Darrell Wallace Jr.'s life.
That was a good first part of it right there.
Turn number 4, Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to get his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. His final time through 3 and 4. He's going to do it. Bubba Wallace wins at Kansas.
Ready. What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go!
Record is equals. Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix and is a 7-time champion of the world.
Get in there, Lewis. What a way to do it, mate. What a way to win your 7th world title.
And welcome back. It's another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. Of course, I am Jared. We got Art. We got Bonte. Danny is here to share her wonderful presence as well. We got a packed episode, so we gotta get the train moving. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Well, first things first. I don't know if y'all been following us on social media. We are sponsoring an iRacing driver. So we just wanted to open episode. You can catch the number 40 Victory Lane Vibes podcast Toyota Camry, driven by our local boy Shane Monday. Catch him the rest of the season rocking the black and yellow. Shout out Wiz Khalifa on iRacing. I think this is huge news because the car is spectacular. If you don't, make sure you check out our socials to look at it because I've posted it 116 times since we found out today.
Yeah, it's fire.
It's fire, right?
Yeah, no, fire.
I thought we had some pretty paint schemes before, but nothing prettier than seeing your hopes and dreams driving around the race car track. So follow us on our socials. We'll be streaming, sharing, I should say, Shane's Twitch. He races Thursday night. He has a really big race. They're doing a 500 lap Bristol night race. So that'll be fun. He's won there before. Hopefully we can get the Victory Lane Vibes Camry in Victory Lane on the first debut. But I'll make sure y'all follow Shane at Shane Monday 45 on
Twitter,
X, Twitter. Well, like Art said,
or
name Twitter. We can call him Twitter. More news on Shane. We're gonna share in a little bit. But I just wanted to get that out there first and foremost because this is big for us. He's super excited. We're super excited. Definitely a step in the right direction of where we want to go as a team. So be on the lookout. But back to our regularly scheduled programming. Let's talk about these trucks. All of NASCAR, ARCA, everybody was at Kansas. The truck race, Christian Eckes, I don't know where he came from. He wasn't fast until he won. Eckes wins the race. Friday night in Kansas. It was nuts.
He snatched that dub, man.
Didn't he?
Yeah,
he snatched it.
He was like, "Hey y'all, thank you very much. I got the win. Y'all didn't. Goodbye." I think that's on to next round, right? Is he part of the playoffs?
I mean, he won, so he is now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Eckes is in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means that this is his next round. Race is pretty cool. I think who was dominating the race? Because I didn't watch that much.
Honestly, a lot has gone on. I watched it, but I just remember him coming out of nowhere. I remember Raja getting wrecked and me throwing my remote at my TV and almost breaking it.
Jesus, Jarrett.
Sorry, that irritated me. It's I I
You
need
know
Raja
what?
to have a good run.
You
And
know
it
what?
seems like every he's right there, and then it's just
The universe just snatches it away
I
from him.
know, Jarrett.
I
You know
almost
what?
said a bad word. What's up?
I can't even talk because I was the same way Sunday. We'll get to that in a minute. But for now, I didn't watch. I heard it was pretty all right. I know. I know. Nick Sanchez had a lot of laps and stuff. Race is pretty cool. So
Yeah, Corey
playoff.
Haim had a fast truck.
Oh yeah,
Hosmer had a
Corey.
fast truck.
Mm-hmm.
Sanchez had a fast truck. They were the three dominant ones. Matt Benedetto had a good run, but he ended up being on the losing end of the points game, and he is no longer participating in the playoffs, ending a rather dismal to his last season with Rackley. But yeah, Roger spun. He bounced back and finished 12th. It sucks because the truck had speed. He was fast. They kept it with the track. Then he got caught in shenanigans, and it went down there from there. But moving forward to Bristol for them, which is kind of interesting. They race Thursday night, which I forget since the Bristol Fall race is a Saturday night race. Everybody's like Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. So another week packed of racing, which is cool.
Yeah.
Danny, did you have a chance to partake in the race? What were your thoughts?
It's Kansas trucks. I was able to watch a little bit. I caught some highlights. We were talking off air. I've been very busy this week, so it's been a little tough. But it was just Christian out of nowhere. And it's like, where did you come from? But he made it count when it mattered most. So, one of those, I guess, maybe better lucky than good sort of nights.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, like, I agree. Like, I think this is a race that you look back on and you're like, all right, well, that was a great 3 laps at the end, but there wasn't a ton in it early on, or the first 95% of the race that kept me interested in it, I have to admit. I don't know. I just feel like I think the most interesting thing probably for me was seeing if De Benedetto could make it into the playoffs. Obviously, he was in a must-win scenario, and he actually had a really great run and was within shouting, distance of P1. So, coming up a little bit short has been kind of an Achilles heel for him in his career to this point. But, I mean, he was on the cut line, basically. So it's not like he was a roadblock trying to get in. But, yeah, I mean, it was just a race that was all right. I saw a lot of chatter on NASCAR Twitter talking about the announcers, and I don't want to throw names out there or like slander them, but they definitely kind of undersold. I think it was the most I don't want to say lackadaisical, but I think it was the calmest call for a 3-wide pass for the lead on the last lap that I've ever seen in my life. They made it seem like it was, lap 2 battling for a 35th spot. So I think maybe that might be one of the reasons why I just have dampened feelings on it. But, it's Kansas. That track usually delivers at least a bit of an interesting product. So all in all, it was like an okay race for me.
Yeah, it's difficult when, we talk about it on there all the time, how F1's commentating is just top-notch A1. They make you feel like you're in it to win it when you're 1,000 miles or more away from the racetrack. And it just, I agree, Art. It was very underwhelming, underpleasing. or Kansas didn't deserve that. Kansas is arguably one of the best mile and a halves we have on the entire schedule, and Kansas didn't deserve that sent off like that. It was it was a little ho hum.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just kind of reinforces the importance of having a solid, if not spectacular, announcing crew, right? They can make an average race good. They can make a bad race average.
Right.
I mean, they just really set the tone for you as the viewer. And, there's been a lot of discussion about Fox's crew, NBC's crew. Every year it seems like they get a lot of scrutiny. But I think races like that truck race kind of remind me, like, hey, you know what? Even if I'm not in love with the top two crews, the Fox NBC crews every week, like they give me a pretty solid product week in and week out by comparison, I have to admit. So it's just a reminder that like it's really hard to commentate, right? Like we're commentating days after this is happening. It's got to be a challenge, and it's a skill, that you can refine and get better. And I'm not saying like the folks on that truck crew like are trash and will never be good, but it's just a reminder that like that's a skill that has to be learned. I don't think it can really be taught. You can only gain it through experience, and hopefully it'll be better, because I just think we've got these races, and whenever you have like potential new eyes on a product, you want to have that best presentation possible. And I just feel like, I mean, we're really harping on this crew, and I'm not trying to dog them, but I just feel like the racing was just downplayed by the level of the announcing that they had.
Right. Which is well said. I mean, it's fair to have, in your opinion and, interpret, what we see in here. I'm sure we get, the same scrutiny on the product that we deliver. Just what happens when you're in the media, you're open for, scrutiny, interrogation, and feedback to improve. So, yeah, definitely some notes to be taken away from the box, from the truck race. Saturday, John Henry said, no, Riley Herbst. Brandon Jones ain't gonna get this win. My boy Parker Kligerman gonna make the payoffs. JHN wins his 6th race of the year, further extending his points lead. Like I just said, Parker Kligerman, thanks to Riley Herbst's downfall, was able to get his playoff spot. What do we think of the truck? I mean, the truck race. Xfinity. What do we think about the Xfinity cars, the purple cars?
A mess. A big, giant mess.
That was a crazy race. I ain't gonna
lie. It really was. But I just want to know, how the hell did Brendan Jones came back and finished second? He spun.
He finally had speed. I
know,
mean,
right?
I've been waiting for this. Like, you left, obviously, the top team in Xfinity. You left JGR. You made a big stink of it. You joined Junior Motorsports, and you've been silent all season. So I guess it's about time to prove his worth, to see if he's worth staying. Did they announce that he's staying? It hasn't come out yet.
I think they already announced it that he's coming back next season.
Public knowledge.
Yeah,
he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about time.
It's like Brandon, like he got to get his stuff together, because Brandon Jones, like, let's keep it real. Brandon Jones can win races. The man can win races. The problem is he just inconsistent at times. If he could be like consistent at all, like, he'll be how he is. But like overall, back to the race. It was a cool race. Not too major. No, a lot too major. It was a mess. I don't know why I keep saying that. It was a big giant mess, but overall it was cool. So Nemechek got a 6th win this season. Definitely championship favorite. Other than that, yeah.
Or did you have a chance to review the Xfinity race?
Yeah, I had a chance to watch it live, and it was just runaway, man. Like, that 20 car, it was just on rails. And it's hard when like one car is just so head and shoulders above the field. I feel like that's been the case in a number of Xfinity races over the last couple of years. I think Ty Gibbs was that in a lot of races last season. It was just tough to watch like one car just dominate. And I mean, you got to give credit to that team and that car. Like, hey, you got roll out there and you got to earn it. But it was just a runaway. I just remember thinking like, unless disaster strikes him, like it's going to be a blowout. Like it doesn't matter if there's a late yellow, restart, whatever. Like, he's just going to get into turn one and just drive away by 3 car lengths and just take off. I mean, that's what he did time after time on those restarts. So it was interesting, like trying to find other things in the race that were interesting for me. Our boy Raj had a tough outing. He had a couple spins. I think I said at one point that the number of spins that Raj has made this weekend is just too damn high. Like it's just, and he had, to be fair, to his credit, he had some help on a couple of them off somebody's front bumper. But it was an interesting race. Like I said, when you've got somebody that's just that dominant ahead of everybody else, I mean, sweeps the stages and it's not even close. It's just hard, man. And, the one interesting through line that I thought we would have going in was the whole playoff cut line battle, like you mentioned with Parker. But then, it became clear by stage 3, thanks to mishaps, downfall, that like it wasn't going to happen. Like there was no comeback on. It was just a wrap. And I think if you're Parker, you're saying this is a bit of karma for Darlington. Sam had trouble and went out early. And then the guy you're battling for the playoff spot, he has trouble and he's not a threat. You just got to bring it home in one piece. And he did. He had a great run and he's had a couple good runs these last couple of weeks. So it's not like he backdoored his way into a playoff spot. So you tip your hat to that team. But yeah, it's interesting just watching one car. It kind of reminds me a bit of like those Martin Truex wins that you used to see, where like he was just a mile and a half ahead of everybody else and just nobody had anything for him. That was the thought that I had watching the race. So again, like, hey, it's their job to go out there and beat you. And he whooped everybody. I think like 12th place on back or something was a lap down. Like you basically had to be in the top 10 to stay on the lead lap, and you were still probably about to get a lap down. So, a runaway for them.
Hi.
Kenny, what you think?
Yes. Yeah, John is him, at least in the Xfinity series. Yeah, it was wild. I watched a replay of the broadcast this morning, and it just didn't matter what anybody did. John would just vanish up the distance and just completely check out. Nobody had a darn thing to say about it all day. And that's incredible. And especially, when you have, pit cycles and, cautions and stage breaks and things, which all, is meant to bunch up the field. And, you think, okay, well, maybe somebody will get them on a restart. Maybe somebody just through, green flag pit strategies will, get them. And nothing, just absolutely nothing. It's funny that Art mentioned, the old Truex wins, because that is actually, when you think about it, that's a lot like what it was like to watch him just absolutely disappear. And nobody had any kind of answer for it. It was absolutely wild to watch. And I mean, to his credit, Brandon gave it a darn good go, but that car just wasn't fast enough. Nobody was. Yeah, I didn't realize that was basically only a top 12 on the lead lap. That is an insane thing to comprehend when you have 12 cars finish on the lead lap. And I mean, and granted, it was kind of a wild race. It was a little messy, but even still, usually just through just through the kind of the natural order of the race, you usually get at least 15, 20 cars that can finish on the lead lap, and not even close. It's just absolute insanity. But I'll be interested to see sort of what happens when he takes his talents to Cup next year.
Yeah, it's funny. While Danny was talking, I was just thinking, something like that, I feel like is something I would do in like the video games. So like, but the only way I could get that done would be like if I had 2x tire wear, everybody else had 4x tire wear. like that's the only way. Like I'm just mopping up the field. I'm sure somebody listening is going, "Oh, that's a skill issue," but like that's the only way. Like I'm plowing through the field. Like that, and I was just like, wow, he's really out here on rookie mode. Like he's not on.
You played Forza on beginner, huh? Oh, you cheating?
Right, like
it's about
like
auto stare,
just beating everybody down. So again, like give them credit, right? They came out there and they took it.
I mean, Toyota was dominant Saturday. I don't know what y'all thought was going to change Sunday. Goodness gracious, Lord have mercy. In case you missed it, Tyler Reddick won the Cup race, and I still don't know. He is also him, because to have the testicular fortitude, this is a family podcast, to pull the move he did to go 3 wide to take the lead. Oh, good God, it was absolutely ridiculous. Wow, just wow. We'll go more in depth about the race, but that was absolutely insane. Our kickoff. What did you think of the trials and tribulations of Toyota, and also the triumph at the end?
I mean, in a vacuum, if you're a Toyota fan or you're a 45 car fan, like this was great. Like if my driver, like if my number one guy is making moves like that, like you can't tell me anything for the rest of the week. I'm like, he is him, all caps, underline. Like those are superstar level moves that you want to see out of guys, just no hesitation, just reacting and going. Like they interviewed him after the race and they're like, what'd you think about that move? What were you thinking? He was like, I was just reacting. Like, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch it because like, I don't know what I did. I just reacted. And I was like, my man, like that's the answer like you want to hear. Like if you're a fan, like if I was a driver, that's what I would want to be like. So like hat tip to him again. Like he kind of stole that one. Like that car was really good. But after the late caution and we had pit road and 2 tires, 4 tires, like I did not see that win happening. Even as they were coming to the restart, like I was like, oh, there's no way he's gonna make up that many spots. So hey, like you did your job, like that's great for you. And like I root for 2311, so like hey, that's great for you, but ... asterisk, like this race, that wasn't the outcome I wanted. But if I had to pick
with that car winning,
I mean, like if there's a driver that isn't my favorite that could win, like that's a pretty good outcome. Like I like Tyler, like he seems like a great dude. I'm happy that he won. If it had to be somebody, I'd want it to be him. But man, not ideal outcome. I would have loved to seen the other car in the stable making those moves. And we'll talk about it when we get there, but I'm sure it was capable.
So like one thing that I realized just now, this must it must be like to be a Brad Keselowski fan. Because like you're happy the team has success, but God damn, I want my driver to win.
Right.
Also, for those keeping score at home, a little known secret in the NASCAR garage, that was the same chassis that won last year when the 45 was wrapped a different paint scheme in Kansas. So 3 out of the last 4 Kansas races have been won by the same chassis and have been won with a 45 on the side and the roof.
3 different drivers too.
I was gonna say, I think I saw somewhere, don't quote me, but I think I saw somewhere that was Kurt's too. So it would be 3 for 3.
It was.
Okay. So then it was 3 for 3 in the fall.
3 for 3. 3 for 3, 45 winning. Toyota has won the last 2 years in Kansas, and ironically enough, I guess you can kind of check JGR did too, since 2311's the JGR Alliance. Anyway,
Danny mostly.
Danny, thoughts about the race?
Yeah, it was. First of all, the number of cautions for tires going down is something that Goodyear should probably be concerned about. Because of course it started with Truex super early in the race. I mean, it was like what, lap 4? And then he brings out the caution for having a tire go down. Then not that much later, Bubba has a tire go down, and didn't put him out. But I mean, let's be honest, it completely ruined the day, because then of course the toe link went with it. It's funny, we were talking about that recently too. The toe link's made of glass with these cars.
More like plastic.
Yeah, but it's it's just like I said, that should be a concern. Busher late in the race, because that was what brought out the caution, and that was what pushed us to the overtime restart. And it's I don't understand it, but otherwise absolutely manic race. And I was watching the final restart and watching Tyler, and I'm like, okay, he's high. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna try to fit that on the outside. That gap is never gonna stick. And then it didn't, and he just darts down below the apron, and it's like, yes, we are gonna make it 3 wide, but I'm gonna be down here on the bottom. And he just goes for it, and I'm like, holy smokes, you absolute madman. I mean, to be fair, he won because I mean, in the 45, it had been a fast car all day, but it was very solidly a P2 car, because he was having all kinds of troubles trying to get around Denny. And then, when Chase had made his way up into the top 3, Chase was starting to make his life a little difficult. So it was probably a solid 2nd or 3rd place car, but just 2311 and sort of the restart magic that team seems to have is just insane. And to think that, yes, the same car, and I mean that in the literal sense of car, has won their 3 out of the last 4 goes of it is absolutely insane. 23. Yeah, exactly. It's like 2311 really does own Kansas. It is extraordinary stuff. It's a shame. Granted, RFK has never been super fast at the 1.5 miles. It's a shame that Chris had the tire go down. I think he could have had a decent day. Brad had been fairly quick all day. And then that little exit of pit road fracas that Chase and Kyle had exiting. I really don't. I don't get it, but it feels like Hendrick is going through their moody teenager phase right now, because all of their drivers are just doing just silly stuff, and I really don't understand it. It's like, why are you bouncing off your teammate like that? It's like, because it wasn't Kyle, it was Keselowski who had moved him down anyway. It's like, you don't know the difference between the Hendrick cars, Camaro, and chrome, teal, and white Mustang? And it's like,
good and well they hate each other regardless.
Well,
ain't nothing changed since the Watkins Glen incident. They can't stand each other.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough, but I feel like that's the thing that Mr. H is going to get after Chase particularly about pretty hard, and given, whatever he did, that really put a bullet in Chastain's swagger the whole second half of the season. It's like, I have a hard time believing that Chase wouldn't run afoul of that.
You bring up an interesting point. At least Chase brings in money. Kyle Larson still hasn't brought in a new sponsor, and Mr. H is essentially paying for him to drive his car. So I don't think he can save us so much, because Chase bringing money to the table. He's not just having to putting his debit card in the ATM and pulling out his own money to keep his car on the track.
And this is a podcast for another day, but I'd be interested, given that Kyle won a championship, that sponsors are ostensibly still nowhere to be found. I don't understand that. But like I said, that's a podcast for another day that we can deep dive. Maybe we can do that in the off season.
Ooh. But we are going to bring up a similar subject here shortly. I got something to ask y'all. Bonte, what you think? We're front now that I have to. I didn't know I got to let before I let you off the leash. Now you got to hold on. Just talk about the race.
I didn't watch it.
Where you was? You was at work.
I got off work. I was trying to rush home so I could watch the race. And then the whole issue with Bubba happened and just completely just ruined my day.
And then you did.
But I did watch the ending, the Torres, the ending Tyler winning that one. Oh my God. What a god doggone win. Keep in mind, obviously, like I was saying, that's the same car that won Kansas 3 to 4 times, but 3 different drivers. Your boy Tyler, that boy beat up, yes sir, and legendary Kurt Busch. So it was like that car owns Kansas. Well, the team 2311 Racing owns Kansas, but I heard it was like a pretty insane race. But other than that, yeah.
So with that, we're gonna go to our hollowed section before we get ratchet. We'll go to 2311 corner. Like we mentioned, Tyler won. Bubba caught slack post race. I don't know if y'all saw the interview, but he pulled up on Tyler. It's like, the only reason why you won because I wrecked. I was like, ooh, Bubba got smoked for Tyler. It's true though.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba's car was fast to the point where they put another toe leak in and he was still running top 5 lap times and he was 5 laps down. There should have been more carnage. I would have loved for him to bounce back and just give it an old run with the last 80 laps and just send it on a long fuel run and see what was going to happen. But I personally, and I'll let y'all jump in and share your thoughts as well. I'm not mad that Tyler won. It's good to see that the team has speed. The team has speed. We talk about all the time. We see the success of RFK, what they're doing with their 2-car program. One car is always right behind the other and vice versa. I'm starting to see similar performance out of the 2311 team. They definitely have their mile and a half program down. They have not disappointed. It was just, and I don't know, I can't speak for Booty or the engineer if it was just like a tire fluke, but I remember, last year with this car, if you get a little funny with that air pressure in the right rear, it's going to be game over before, it's supposed to, if you don't follow those rules and regs that Goodyear sets out. But I don't know if they sent it, hoping to, give Bubba a leg up later on in the run that it started too low, or if genuinely it was a crap tire. But for, not to bring up old news, but for Bubba's mental health and his mental fortitude to always be a topic of conversation by the NASCAR media, he was in fantastic spirits. And I think we're gonna be in for something special come Saturday night. Because he's focused, he's ready, he's lighthearted, he joked around. I'm pretty sure he had fun today. Celebrating with the 45 team. I think it's some good juju coming Bubba's way Saturday, and they got another absolutely ridiculous paint scheme. Shout out to Columbia. Another stupid car. Like I thought the Infinity Gold was pretty, but golly, they going to the moon.
I go to the moon.
Yeah, it's just, and I'll wrap this up before I let y'all go. But the pit crew came, the pit crew showed up. Money stops all day long. I even saw them click off a 9-5, and I thought I was watching Christopher Bell's pit crew. I don't know where that came from, but they came to play. They definitely came to win. The money was on the line. The money's on the table, like, coining Art's catchphrase. And we just had luck sometimes. But if you don't have bad luck, you can't ever have good luck. So we'll see what happens. Bonte, now we at the part where you get to speak your piece. So speak your piece.
All right, I'm about to rant. No, it's not really a rant, but like, okay, so he was running so well. We were doing second, like the whole first stage and some second. Like you can tell he was serious, especially how Kansas is one of his consistent tracks. and then the tire blew and broke totally. I was so furious. I almost broke my phone. I was on my way home during when that happened. I'm like, bro, are you serious right now? That's probably like the most maddest I ever been in any race. Besides, I'm not gonna say that they told him for her when I was mad. That's more like heartbroken. But I was mad. Keep in mind, it's not that. Keep in mind, but it's out of the team control and Bubba's control. Especially Bubba, because he didn't do nothing wrong. Tire blew and just completely ruined his day. Oh, that hurts, especially when he was running so well at Kansas. I'm still mad about that. I'm probably not gonna get with that for a while. But he's in but you could tell he wasn't really he wasn't really like mad about it at all. Like after Tyler win, he went to go celebrate with Tyler and yeah, so that was cool by him. I could definitely tell I could definitely tell he's ready for Saturday. Even though we like 19 points below the cut line, but he is ready. He's serious. Man, I just wish that tire never blew, but is what it is.
Arthur.
Yeah, man. This one was hard. This was the deepest of gut punches that I've had as a fan this season. Probably in the last two seasons, I think, really. Like, we've talked about this in the chat before, and like Bonte just mentioned, like this was the race where the stars were really in a line for the 23 crew. Bubba was doing his thing, Booty's doing his thing, Pit Crew doing the thing. That's all you can really ask for. They started, I think it was 12th, and then quickly made their way up through the field. P2 at the stage got a bunch of stage points, which were super valuable, especially more valuable now in hindsight. I think that's the only thing that's keeping it from being a must win for him at this point is those 9 stage points. But yeah, like it's just the way the ball bounces, like there's nothing you can do. And so I think that might be one reason why, trying to get into Bubba's head for a minute. I think that might be one reason why he's a bit more relaxed. It's just that this was just something you couldn't control. This wasn't him making a mistake. This wasn't the wheel being loose. Like it just happens. And so one thing you have to do is just focus on the things you can control. And bad luck, random occurrences like this happening, like there's just no way you can plan for that. And even after the accident, like the crew did a good job getting the toe link repaired, gotten back out there. And yeah, there were a couple laps in stage 3 where they were 5 laps down, but they were still running the quickest laps on track even after the damage. So I mean, I think that just goes to show the kind of rocket ship that they had brought to the track. And I really do think they put all the eggs that they could into this basket to try and get a win as a group. And you saw the results. I mean, one car was great early, the other car was great late. So it's just one of those things where you have to just take the medicine and accept it. It sucks, but it is what it is, and you have to keep moving forward. But it was hard, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I specifically didn't mention probably the middle third of the race just because I had to take like an anger nap right after that. Like, I was just like, I don't want to watch this right now. I literally laid on my couch. I crossed my arms. I went to sleep. I woke up. It was stage 3. Like, I went through like a 90-second phase where Bubba hit the wall and my football team threw a pick 6. So it was not a great afternoon for me from a sports perspective. Go Pats. But,
Wow.
it is what it is. They still have a chance. Like I think I'm a firm believer in you keep punching until it's over. Bristol isn't a must win for them. They have to perform really well, get a bunch of stage points early. If you can get 15 stage points, like you're right there with it. And you never know what could go wrong. We've seen playoff guys have bad runs at Bristol, and Bubba has run well there. So, you go into it saying like control the things you can control. If you're the team, and just go and play free and you don't want to play loose, but just play free and like have that confidence just to go out there and do your thing. And hopefully the results come with it. But yeah, it was That was the hardest one. That's probably the only race this year where like it was over and I was like, man, I do not want to talk about this on Tuesday. Like I did not. Am I going to no show this podcast episode? I was like, no, I can't do that. Like what kind of character would that be? Right. But like, that's the only moment where I was like, man, I do not, I want to bury this and move on just because I was so fed up. I didn't watch Radioactive. I didn't watch none of it. I didn't watch the highlights. I was like, I don't want to see it. Like, I'm just ready to get on to Bristol. So
I know.
it's just tough. It's just real tough.
Yeah, I know. I was the same way. Like after I got home, I made a tweet said, "No point when we watch race, I'm going to sleep." I was literally going to go to sleep because how furious I was. Throughout the whole, I'm like, bro, I turned everything off, put my music in until I went home, and then the only thing that's made me not mad like I was Tyler winning. That's it. If Tyler didn't win, I would have probably would have still been mad about this race, which I'm still in. But yeah, nothing you can do. Just gotta move on, go to Bristol, and great for Saturday night.
Yeah, I didn't watch the race live. I'm working in an event, and and I see, of course, because I kind of pay tangential attention to the group chat. Bubba is cooking, Bubba is fast, all the money stopped. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those days. And then we were packing up to leave, and I have my phone in my pocket, and it lights up, and it's to the point where my partner is like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "I think so." And then I look and I'm like, "Oh no." That was when, the tire went down. He slapped the wall, broke the toe link. I'm like, dadgummit. And even watching a replay of the broadcast, knowing exactly what was going to happen, it was still just as deflating. It was like, I mean, like I said, basically the first, stage and a bit, Bubba was cooking. It was clearly they came to play this past Sunday. Like that couldn't be any more obvious, but just having the tire go down and really killed it. But like I said, after the damage, they were clearly still fast. They got the car fixed and were clicking off, top fives. If I remember a tweet when I was kind of going through the tweets this morning, I think Sarah had tweeted that at one point they were in the top 3 at quickest cars on the track at one point late in stage 3, which is wild. And it's like, and so they absolutely could have been in contention for a win. Yes, the stage points, like I said, in hindsight, the stage points were fantastic. That's the only thing keeping this from being worse. And the fact that Truex died earlier, which also helps because any lead that Truex has had has utterly evaporated because he's right on the cut line with Logano. In fact, he's actually on the wrong side of the cut line, if I remember correctly. I don't remember exactly how the cookie has crumbled there, but and that's the reason why I'm, beyond the fact that the Moon car is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, that is such a pretty race car. Is that Bubba has been fast at Bristol, and Truex has been garbage traditionally at Bristol. So there is some hope there that you put the two together, and we still got a shot. But it's just like, dadgummit, this was kind of the race I had circled. Because I was genuinely annoyed that I couldn't watch the race live. I'm like, and I got to work this stupid event, and I can't watch. And then I see that Bubba dies. I'm like, okay, well, never mind. And just went on about my afternoon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Bristol. Hoping that they bring another rocket ship and that Bubba does well. They will need to bag stage points early. They will need to focus on that. 15 points, 10 points. We'll have to see kind of when we get there what the math is for Bubba to advance. But also the fact that it has been a bloodbath for the playoff drivers these first 2 races.
Just like how
ahead,
last I was also gonna say real quick, just how like last year was, if you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these first 2 rounds have just been a mess. So many fast guys who have either pit issues or frankly just a momentary skill issue, and are trundling around in 25th. So if that continues and Bubba can keep his nose clean, then in theory he can bag a whole bunch of points and move himself up just through not doing anything silly. But the team has got to be on 10 on Saturday. There's just no two ways about it. Because if they do anything stupid, it's over.
I just, we always talk about if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. How can we increase the structural integrity of the right rear toe link? Because if we did that, everybody's problems will be solved. Like I get this was like the cost-saving, cost-cutting car, but damn it, y'all got to figure something out about this. Like, if you're gonna put the technology in the car to have fully independent suspension, why is the toe link trash? My IS300 had a thicker toe link than this next gen car does. Doesn't make any sense.
It's so fragile, bro. Like Jesus,
man.
Like,
Yeah,
and then it's like the cars, ain't this car probably like composite bodies?
Yeah,
it's like you're right. It's like you slightly hit the wall, and boom, it's broken. I'm like, what the hell?
It's like you don't get the fender rub anymore of the old cars. You just break a toe link now.
Right. I guess that's the new norm now.
But to your point, Danny, he's not in a must-win situation. Ideally, he makes the second round of qualifying. He starts somewhere, I don't know, first. And Truex starts, I don't know, 27th. Right? If the pits, if the pits crew's still cooking, by stage 2 we could be locked in already mathematically. And if he wins, to hell with it. Just let him go ahead and do it. So, it's not insurmountable. He's 19 points back. And he's 12 points back of Truex, and Truex is 7 points back from Harvick. So Harvick's gonna, I don't know, he may sell. He does still drive for SHR. He may be good at Bristol, but they are not. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting. Tyler already has his win. I don't know if he want to go out there, being, demolition derby and knocking everybody out of the way for the 23 to make sure he gets his points. But never say never. Stranger things has happened. Chase Elliott purposely blocked Kevin Harvick, so Larson can get that win when they were friends. So, we see what goes on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like Harvick's. I just don't see him being trash at this track, just because he has so much experience there. Like the two guys,
he won there too.
Yeah, the two guys that I really have circled are Logano and Bell, right? Because Bell's plus 13 to the cut line, Logano is plus 12. Like, that is very doable, if they can get a bunch of stage points. Because I just don't think Harvick's going to be riding around in 18th all race. I feel like he's going to get stage points. So those are like the two guys that I'm targeting. I mean, because the next guy up after that is Busher, and he's also plus 13. But, I mean, we saw him last year come in here and straight up win the whole thing. So there's no reason to think that he's going to be an also-ran in this race. So those are the two names that I will be watching. If you believe in, voodoo dolls, like those are the two names to attach to them. If you want to, get something started for the weekend, like I'm really interested in seeing what happens there. I think that's Bubba's best chance, because it's about the cut line, but then also like, who are you going to beat, right? Like on track. And I just feel like those are the best chances. Now I say that, and then they'll run 1-2, and then I'll look like a fool. But that today, 5 days out from the race, like that's my two to watch for if you're trying to watch the bubble.
Yeah, after this recording, I'm going to go outside and go do witchy stuff.
We need it. We need all the help we can get at this point.
I think I got an auntie with some Creole in her or something. We had to get this yarn out right quick. We might have to string something.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like we are at the end of the rope. Like, this desperate times, desperate measures. Like, if you choose to believe in any higher power that you want to talk to, go for it. Now, don't be shy today. Like, now's the time.
I don't think we that desperate, but if you want to put a little hex on somebody right quick, say the alphabet backwards or something, if you're not doing a sobriety checkpoint, just reach out and help us. Do listen to, what was that song they thought that was calling the devil? Listen to 3-6 Mafia, Stay Fly backwards. That'll help. Speak in tongues. Do something. But yeah, we just know that Bubba has a fire paint scheme coming. So does Tyler Reddick. That's all I can say about that. I'm sworn to secrecy, but
I'm going to the moon.
it's
just like that Future song. I'll go to the moon. I go to the moon.
man, just wow, y'all going. It's gonna be crazy. Circling back, Chase and Kyle part 7. It seems like, to Danny's point, I don't know if the spotter just didn't tell Chase that, yo, that wasn't Kyle, that was Brad. Then Chase proceeded to smack Kyle. Everybody jumped down Chase's throat like, oh, he's mentally unstable. He shouldn't do that. He should be checked out. First of all, this man got doored by his teammate when he was arguably running the best race has been running all season. He was top 5 for most of the day. You damn right I'm gonna be mad if I got doored on pit road. What am I supposed to do? Obviously he said hindsight was 2020. It is what it is, but I just hate that this seems to be the hot new catchphrase for NASCAR media, talking about the mental strength of our drivers. Yes, there's something mentally wrong with them. They're crazy. They strap into a hot car, go 200 miles an hour day in and day out, week in and week out, and you expect them not to be, a little mad when they get roughed up unnecessarily. Stop using mental health as a scapegoat. Chase and Kyle don't like each other. Let that be that. If they want to play bumper cars, cool. That means my team gets to win, and they did. I hate that this has been the new popular thing now. First it was Kyle, then it was I forget the lady's name from Sirius XM. I just listened to that snippet of the interview, but we need to stop degrading mental health and stop making that the catchphrase, and just let the drivers drive. Y'all wanted old NASCAR. You're gonna have to censor this, but old NASCAR used to be each other. And that's everybody liked, everybody loved, everybody likes, I'm telling my age. Thank you, NASCAR Classics. That wreck at the Daytona 500, they got the car swinging, beating up each other, fighting on on the infield. That's what NASCAR is. Like this, these drivers are passionate about their craft. They're passionate about the sport, and they have things to do. They have sponsors wanting them to perform, teams wanting them to perform. I'm sure there's performance metrics in their contracts to make sure they get the bonus money they're supposed to do. Can we please quit harping on drivers' mental health and let's praise them for standing up for themselves? Chase already done enough this year, but I'm glad that he's not backing down just because, oh, you're in the playoff. I don't care. I have a career and I have sponsorships to attend to. So I'm going to go run this race. You're not going to get in the way of me doing it. I don't care if you have an office in my office and we park next to each other in the parking lot at HMS. I'm not here for that. I'm here to put Napa in Victory Road, Victory Lane, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is like, if you just use the idea of like, oh, somebody's mentally soft or not mentally tough, or they're having like mental health issues, like I think it really just takes away the teeth of the statement for when it is real, right? Like there are drivers who have been open. Bubba's one of them, talk about like there's been times where he's been very depressed or hasn't felt confident or happy getting in the car, and like if you're gonna use that for every little incident that happens on a racetrack, like it just totally degrades and devalues like when it is something serious. Like if a driver was like, hey, look, I'm really depressed and I don't think I can be in the car this week. Well, if the fans have been beaten over the head for the last year that any little thing equals that, then like that's not gonna go over as well. Like I just think it's such a lazy argument to make, and I just wish people would take it more seriously because it is a real thing. And like life is hard for a lot of folks. Jobs are hard. Like that's a hard job to be. We talk about all the time on here. Like being a race car driver is really hard. 99.99% of the world doesn't know what that's like. So maybe we should just show a little bit of empathy towards these folks that are out there driving, for sport and for entertainment for us. It's a little disheartening to see that sort of thing come up. And then like from the Chase Kyle side, I think it might have been Danny who said it earlier or Jared, but like they just don't like each other, y'all. Like we just gotta accept that as truth at this point. Like yeah, they're gonna do sponsor speak and they'll say the right things in the press or whatever. But like, if I'm Chase, yeah, I don't like Kyle Larson. I just won the championship, and here comes this guy winning 10 races and topping my career highlight the next year. And all season, I have to hear about how great he is because he goes and runs dirt, and now he's gonna go run the Indy 500 and like all this press. And like, yes, Larson's accomplishments deserve praise, but like, if I'm Chase Elliott, I'm like, hey, yo, I just won you a championship. Like, I'm the first champion in like 7 years or something like that around here at Hendricks. Like, where's my shine? And it's like, he's made really poor decisions on track this season, made poor decisions off track in terms of his extracurricular activities. And so, like, I'm not at all surprised that they had this tip. I'm sure, like, they talked it over and, they had that Monday meeting and things are calmer now. But, like, yeah, guys, we should totally expect this. Like, these are very competitive people. And I'm sure all of them have egos, right? Like, I don't care who you are. If you're in a cup car, you've got some level of an ego and a confidence in yourself, and you should. But, like, yeah, if my new coworker suddenly tops all of my achievements and is getting all this praise from my boss, yeah, like I'm not gonna like that guy. Like I'm not gonna be rooting for his success as much as I want it at the expense of mine. So yeah, like I was a bit surprised that he did as hard as he did, especially since Larson's in the playoff hunt and Chase isn't. Like that's one of those things you just fight it out back at the hauler, I think. Fight with air quotes, but. Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that they race each other tough. I mean, they've both, mostly Larson, but they've raced each other very hard. And Larson's put Chase into some bad positions, we'll say, multiple times over the last 2 years. So, I mean, those are the fireworks that you should just expect at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's wild to watch them go back and forth these days. I think it's kind of funny. And truth be told, you say fight with air quotes. I don't know, go throw hands. That honestly might squash this faster than, them sitting here banging doors and, giving each other the kind of crummy ends of deals all the time. Because at least then they can, conclusively get it out of their system and we can all move on. But yeah, no, the whole sort of enigma that seems to be mental health in this sport is something that I find deeply, deeply frustrating. Yes, you have to, have a screw or two loose, no matter what series you run to sit here and basically strap yourself into a, aluminum and carbon fiber, bathtub effectively with fuel and a lot of power and, do this, for depending on what series you run, minimum half the year, basically, and say, yes, that is what I want to do with my life. But yes, like I said, using that as a scapegoat, I do think it's kind of the best turn of phrase is for anything that seems to happen on track now, in NASCAR media it's frustrating, It was, super cool, and I was hoping that maybe it would open up a dialogue because, Dale Jr. has talked about it a bit, quite a bit, and especially, processing, everything after, Senior died and, his concussions and how that affected his career and what that did to his mental health. Bubba has talked about it at length since he's been in Cup and about how he just had no interest in getting in the car some weeks, but did it anyway because we've talked about sponsor obligations and things. You would think doing that, two of the more prominent voices in the sport would demystify this a bit, but it seems to have done exactly the opposite, and that is very, very annoying. It'll be nice if we move past this because yes, Mr. Petty and Miss Trotta are
yes, that's who
yes,
it was.
Danielle Trotta on Sirius XM. But yeah, it's not a good look to sit here and do this and to basically, weaponize mental health the moment that a driver does something that you don't like. Look, I understand they get paid to have opinions, like fair enough, as much as we may hate them, that is fundamentally their job. This is just a really, really bad opinion to have. Suffice it to say. And that's sort of where I'm having issues, but yeah, no, these, like I said, they don't like each other, and it really is just that simple. It is no more complex than that. part of me, especially given some of Alex's shenanigans relative to all of that, part of it makes me wonder kind of where he fits in. It seems like Byron is kind of on a little island in HMS by himself where he just comes, does what he needs to do, and then, goes back to the hall or goes home, as opposed to the dog and pony show that seems to be Bowman, Larson, and Elliott every week.
They got to get the gloves out. They got to scrap. It's got to, Wednesday night, tomorrow night, go on ahead and get the boxing gloves out, and just spar. Just get it out your system, and then walk away being better teammates. That probably won't help, but at least they get some anger and some animosity out. And they should stream it. Raise some money for the dogs, so Alex Bowman can be involved. Got to give back to the dogs. And William Byron will just probably ignore all of it and just go racing our race.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like Byron is like the most even keel. Like he just doesn't like anything. Like he just shows up. He's that coworker that shows up. He punches his time card, and as soon as it's 5 o'clock, he punches it out. He just goes home, and you don't know anything about his personal life. You don't know he's married, has kids, has a house, apartment, parents, nothing. I'm just here to get my work done. And yeah, I just think that's very interesting how like he's filling in, not filling in, but he's in one of the most famous seats, right? Like number 24, one of the most iconic numbers. And he's just like, yep, I'm just here doing my thing. And like he's doing it well. Like he's having a great year. So, good for him. But yeah, like to Danny's point, like, what was it last year? Larson walls Bubba, and they get into a little bit of a shoving match, we'll say. I wouldn't call it a fight, but I think there's a little bit of pushing and shoving. They ain't had no issues since then. They had no static, no smoke. So maybe it's onto something. Like, just get it out, and then it's cool. Like, we understand each other, where each other stands, and, like, we can just move forward. That might be the move. Just have a nice solid boxing match somewhere in a ring and just let everybody get that aggression out.
I mean, that Alex Bowman ain't tried nothing with Bubba either. He tried a little pushing and shoving at the Roval. Then Bubba had to G-check him over there and splash him with some water, make him realize he was the wrong one. You know what I'm saying? Bubba he almost had to go to the hall and get a chair. That's all I'm saying. He almost had to make it happen.
I mean, like, I don't condone violence at all, but like if that little bit of furniture moving is what's needed for you to have your respect and get your space, then I condone it. I think other people should do it too if they have to. I mean, look at Ross Chastain. Ross was a menace.
Hey.
Ain't nobody do anything to him. Nothing. Everybody talk big in interviews and on podcasts and on Twitter. Ain't nobody do anything to Ross. So, like, why would you stop, right? Noah tried to come to him, and we see how that did. Like, that didn't go over well. Like, he said, I'm about to
him up.
So
yeah, and that's a great point. Yeah, people talk big stuff on everywhere else, about Bubba, but he has gotten after a handful of drivers, since he's been in Cup, and don't nobody mess with him.
They know he about that life.
Up. Oh yeah, absolutely. The biggest fireworks, we saw with Bubba and Larson, and Larson's like, I'm not doing nothing. I was like, whoop my ass.
Yeah. He got out that car and he realized he was 5'2", and he said, I don't need this in my life. I get paid to drive the cars. I'll give you a little space. I'll give you extra 3 feet coming off of turn 4. No problem. I don't want no problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Amarola tried to step to Bubba at the rain delay at Michigan, and he pushed Bubba, and Bubba was about to go get him, and Amarola got carted off quite promptly.
That was Charlotte.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, Charlotte. Because that's the race that finished 4th.
Clear through. But while you're here, Bonte, I'm gonna segue #AskBonte. I know you wanted to make some light and share your experiences, with mental health, and I feel like this would be a good segue since it's a topic of conversation. Just why is it important to you? Take a few minutes and just do a dive for us right quick.
Yeah. So like, if you feel like you are not like if you feel like you are claustrophobic or like terrible mood or you feel like you don't want to be on this earth, you're not alone. Because I go to the same issues Art does too. If sorry if I bring you up, but you know what I mean. And depression, yeah, like anxiety, depression, like it sucks. It really does. Like, but I know I'm rambling off in the mouth right now. But what I'm trying to say is like, if you got friends, family, go talk to them. Like we are not alone. Not only that, never feel like everybody against you because they're not. At times, I do. I feel that same way. Like I feel like nobody like me. I feel like pretty much almost everybody hate me and stuff. Like depression is so sad. Every night I go to sleep. It sucks though, but like talk to someone. No matter who it is. Cause trust me, you are not alone.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on that. I agree completely. Like, it's tough if like in your mental space, like you just feel like like you're anxious or you're depressed or like, and the hard thing to recognize is that your mind is literally lying to you, right? Like it's literally telling you things, and like it's hard for you as a person to step back and be like, oh wow, my brain is telling me something that I know isn't true. It's like if you looked outside and it was like, oh, the sky is purple. Like, that's not true, but your brain for some reason is telling you that. But like, it's not true. Like, that's what it's like. And it is very tough for folks. And we've made this point a couple times on the show, but like I said, like everybody goes through things and like have their own personal struggles. And yeah, like the point is to know that you have people that care about you, that you aren't by yourself. Like, you've got, look, if you're going through something, hey, tag the podcast on Twitter. Like, I'll reply to you. I'll talk to you in the DMs. Like, I got no problem, whoever it is.
Way
like,
too.
Facts. But like, it's just, I think it's important, like I said, to really be supportive to people because, and to, as I said with Kyle Petty the other week, it's like, just show some grace because you don't know what somebody's going through. And you don't have to be a race car driver to be going through it. You could be working at anything. You can be working at a grocery store, you can be doing whatever, like it doesn't matter. And so, I think, not to get in on a soapbox here, but like we as society could all just do better at like showing grace to people and giving them some support versus rushing to judgment or assuming the worst about somebody just because they may have these moments.
Or I'm sorry, cut you off, Art. Or even make fun of them too. Like it's like we cannot do that. It's actually kind of after that people are really making fun of people who are going through a lot of mental health issues. Like we can't do that. We need to make sure that they're okay. Talk to them when they can and stuff like that.
It costs $0.00 to be a decent human being, and I feel like a lot of today's issues that that goes on in society. A lot of things can be avoided if if you're familiar with someone, it's something out of whack. Just, are you okay? How's your day to day? You just taking the time to recognize and have that person feel like they exist in your presence could turn somebody's day around. Like, it literally doesn't cost anything at all for you just to be a decent human being. We just got to be better. Like in all facets of life. Like, yeah, this is a NASCAR podcast. We might be steamrolling a little bit, but it needs to be said. Y'all got to chill, like on all levels and all fronts. Just you got to relax, man.
What? Yeah, 100%. Like you could be the happiest person in the world, but when you by yourself and you like you feel sad, like it's a guy that Ellen knows for a long time. Did anybody know what his name was?
The Twitch,
yeah. Like you see him dancing and stuff, like happen with his family, and that's amazing. But you'll never know behind closed doors how they feel right now because depression or mental health wise, like. No matter who it is, just check up on your friends and stuff. Friends, family, no matter. Just been make sure they're okay, because you never know like what they might going through behind closed doors.
Absolutely. So glad we took a little segue. That was need to be said.
Yes, sir.
Looking ahead, we got Bristol coming. I know we should have shared some predictions, but I'm gonna ask you the question backwards. Who going home? Who is out of here when it's all said and done Saturday night in Bristol, Tennessee / Virginia?
Okay. So my opinion, obviously, Stenhouse and McDowell, Truex, and Logano.
Ooh,
interesting.
That's spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Danny, what you think? Who going on?
Yeah, definitely Stenhouse and McDowell. I think they're a given. We have two basically fraudulent playoff spots every year, and those are the two this year. I think Truex is gone. He has completely obliterated any lead he had built up with 2 bad races, and he has. Oh my goodness! I think the broadcast says he hasn't posted a top 5 at Bristol in this point like a decade or something like that, which is just yeah, it's wild.
His last good finish was 8th, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but a top 5 has been way longer than that. So I'm gonna be honest. I think Truex is done, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say Harvick actually is gonna be the last one to go. I know he carries SHR on his back, and he does a darn good job of it. Let me be perfectly clear. But a fast Stewart-Haas race car is merely mid-pack for everybody else. And that's on a good day. Most of the time they're, kind of the bottom third of the grid. So if they don't come to play, it's over for Harvick.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to figure out. I mean, I'm in agreement with the rest of the group on the 34 and the 47. Like, get them out of here. Like, goodbye, skedaddle. I don't want to see you. Don't want to hear about you for the rest of the season. I also think Truex is going to be out. Like, to Danny's point, like, Bristol has not been good to him. This is probably one of the worst tracks for him. I mean, he was great at Darlington and would have been great at Kansas, but you can't finish last and expect to make it to the next round. So, yeah, I've got him out. And then lastly, I'm a bit more bullish on Logano and Harvick making it than my cohorts here, just because I just think they are two of the most experienced drivers in the field. And that's not to take anything away from Truex. It's just that he traditionally has been awful at Bristol. But I just look at those two guys as being really crafty veterans with longtime crew chiefs. They're just going to figure out a way to get enough points to stay above, I mean, maybe Harvick makes it by like +2 or +1, but like they do just enough to get there. So I'm going to say Bubba makes it. And so that leaves for me, Buescher and Bell. Both of them are +13 in 9th and 10th spots. And like I said earlier, like Buescher's run really well at Bristol, literally won this race a year ago. And he's been better since then, right? Like last year, we're like, oh, RFK is having a good run. Oh, good for them. They're on the upswing. Like, that's a cute win for them. Now this year, it's like, nah, like, they're a problem in a lot of places. So I just expect more of the same from him. I expect him to be in the hunt for the win. So that leaves Baby Bell, and I'm going to say that he doesn't make it. He's not had a great playoff. I don't know his Bristol stats off the top of my head, but I'm going to choose to believe that the 23 finds a way to get it done, and that has to come at somebody's expense. And so if that's at Christopher Bell's expense, I'm okay with that, personally. I have nothing against the man, but if it's got to be somebody, that's who I'm going to go with. Those picks are the perfect mix of my heart and my gut / my brain, right? Like, it's not all heart, it's not all brain. So some wisdom, some foolishness mixed in those. But that's who I'd say getting out.
I feel like this moment is brought to you by T.I.'s performance in ATL when he snatched the chain off of Lauren London and said, "Give me back my chain." So McDowell's going home to be a father to all of his kids. Ricky Stenhouse is going home to make it wonder if they actually if he needs a teammate, somebody to lean on. Truex is cooked. He can't. This will be the first time for as long as I remember the regular season champ didn't make it to the next round. But sorry, buddy. Like you said, Art, you kind of can't perform the way that you did and just expect your bonus points is gonna, help you to the promised land. Psych. And I am also on the agreements. Christopher Bell has a terrible qualifying effort, and he gets sent in stage 1, and that's the end of his 2023 NASCAR playoffs. And the 23 team is going to land on the moon. Just depends upon which moon, how big the moon is. There's multiple moons in the universe for you, space people out there. We gonna see what we do. You know what I'm saying? Before we get to the part where we miss anything, I would be remiss to mention that the aforementioned, if you listen to Noah's Ark 2, we gave a spotlight to Noah Gregson, speaking about the situation that happened, and offering our opinions on what he can do to restore his NASCAR career. Word was released today by NASCAR media that he has been officially reinstated. He has completed, the training courses that he needed to get his license back. I'm if you listen, I was probably more heated than the rest of the people we had on the episode in regards to what happened and all that stuff. I hope that there's change. It is hard to make it into the top levels of NASCAR. It's hard to have the skill set and the talent level to get sponsors to attract to you to fund your career until a point where you can get paid for it. So hopefully he's learned his lesson. Hopefully he does something with his learnings and teachings. I know Larson had a 16-minute special or something. He was out giving back to the community, proving a point that it wasn't just, oh, I'm the quote unquote best driver in NASCAR. I need to do this so I can start making money again. I truly hope that Noah learns from his mistakes. And I wish him success. I'm not as mad about it now as I was then at the time of that recording of that episode. If you guys want to go back and listen to it, it's Noah's Ark 2. Listen to the second one, not the first one. And I just we'll see where he lands. I don't think he'll be back in the Cup car next year, but I do think he'll be driving somewhere for somebody in some space between the trucks and Xfinity. I don't think he gets knocked down the Arc or anything like that. He's got a little bit too much money. There's some underfunded teams out there that could use that funding to improve their program. But how did y'all take the news?
So I was at work when I saw that. Like you guys said, hope he makes hope he learn from his mistakes, and I wish him luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, I'm very interested in seeing, what's the quote unquote work that he's done in terms of his personal growth and development. Like we said on that episode, so I won't rehash it too much here. I also agree, like, if you haven't heard it, I highly encourage you to hear that episode. It's probably one of my favorites, I think, out of all the shows that we've done to this point. But I'm just very interested to see like what comes out of it, right? So I don't need necessarily Noah to go give giant bags of money to black folks. I mean, he can if he wants to, but I'm not expecting that to be like, oh, that makes everything fine. But I'm just curious to see, maybe hear from him directly at some point, like what does he learn from it? How is he gonna take this experience, and how's it gonna mold him moving forward? So those are the things that I'd be really interested in. I wasn't too surprised by the news. I definitely didn't think he was going to be gone forever. I didn't think it was going to be a lifetime ban or even a year-long ban necessarily. I just don't think it warranted that as well. I do think he'll end up in Xfinity for a year, probably for all of next season, and then try to work his way back up to a Cup ride. He's got to do a lot of image rehab to get that money from those sponsors. But I do think, like we said, there's room for growth, right? You try not to judge someone completely off of their worst moment or off a really bad mistake. And so, you know, like I said on that episode, now's the time to show it, you know, and walk the walk that, you know, you're not this person that a lot of folks are saying you are. And so I hope that's the case. You know, I really don't want to think, oh, that's Noah Gregson, the racist driver who just doubled down on it. Like, I don't want that to be the case at all. And we'll see what happens from there. And he's got a good opportunity because his career is not over. You know, I'm sure he felt like it was for a while, but he's going to get at least one more chance to come back and get in a NASCAR race car. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think was the only one here who was not on the Noah's Ark episodes. But I didn't think he was a bad person then necessarily. It was a supremely, supremely, supremely stupid thing to do, stupid thing to like, and he suffered the consequences. Let's be abundantly clear. Now, you know, I kind of go back and forth as to, you know, whether it was the gravity of said consequences were warranted or not. And you know, that's something that, you know, the four of us, we can debate that all night. But fundamentally, he did something that invited negative repercussions and he faced them. Regardless, I hope he has had the opportunity to sort of kind of understand kind of where he went wrong. I hope he has come out of the other side a better person. You know, certainly wish him all the best. I hope, you know, he does get back into a race car. Like I said, I don't necessarily think he was bad per se, you know, and I mean, and we can, again, I will try not to, you know, diverge on this tangent too much, but, you know, we can talk about, you know, just how our unmelanated brothers and sisters and how they just don't perceive some of those microaggressions. They see something, they go, ha ha ha, funny. And it's like, well, actually, no, that's kind of crummy. That's a crummy thing to say, crummy thing to like, blah, blah, yada, yada. And while granted, I think this is a bit more clear cut than this, you know, I think this goes far beyond, you know, just, you know, meme. You know, I hope he's learned from this. I hope this has been a learning experience, you know. I did, you know, certainly I think anybody who thought he was permanently, you know, yeeted from NASCAR, I think was silly and just, you know, didn't like Noah. This was always going to be a suspension for a couple of months. He'd be reinstated after he, you know, satisfied NASCAR's criteria. And then they were always going to be like, okay, well, knock it off. Don't do it again. So we'll see. He'll probably land. I think he'll land in Xfinity. He'll get a ride somewhere. It'd be hilarious if he ended up at Junior Motorsports again. And truth be told, given that Dale seems to be kind of a dollar and cents kind of guy anyway, I think there's actually a pretty good possibility that he would end up back at Junior Motorsports. But yeah, so, you know, I certainly wish him all the best. I hope he can, you know, do sort of, you know, for like, you know, Art said, certainly the image rehab, you know, get that sponsorship money, get back in a ride, and you know, maybe one day, you know, maybe, you know, 2025, you know, 2026, you know, we'll see him back in, you know, we'll see him back in Cup. But, you know, this has been an unexpectedly long and winding saga for a fairly simple thing, which I find kind of funny. You know, maybe that's just sort of the amplification effect of social media and just the 1,000 different sort of little strings of dialogue that are generated as a result. You know, it's funny how it's kind of like, wow, that's kind of messed up. Holy crap, he got suspended. Holy crap, NASCAR yeeted him. And then it kind of builds and grows. And then how I go, wow, that seems a bit much. And then just like I said, 1,000 little strings of dialogue and replies and such that came from there, because my mentions were hot for a little bit. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Wish you all the best, Noah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell NASCAR took it seriously with how fast they panhammer. Nope, bye, see ya. To the bench you go.
Especially on I'm sorry to cut you off. Jimmy too. Jimmy didn't play about that at all.
Jimmy played no games. I think it was interesting. It came out that they were actually surprised that Noah asked to be released from his contract because they wanted to keep him. It was that he asked out of his contract. It's almost as if John Hunter Nemechek paid him under the table, say, "Hey, do this, I get your car, and then I'll pay you back later." Enough for my conspiracy theories. But hopefully, NASCAR does something. If Noah did have to pay a fine or anything like that, as far as his punishment, they should buy an allotment of tickets, give it out to minorities who are interested in racing. What better way to say you're sorry? Hey, come see what we do. Get some underprivileged youth out there, give them some merch, throw them some pit passes, show them what NASCAR is about. If you really want to cultivate, the race and the people that continues to be the butt of people's jokes, put up some of your money and invite them out just to see what goes on in the four walls of your sport. And I don't know, you might make a fan. You definitely make somebody's day. Maybe you'll get some forbearance and some forgiveness if you extend, a look in to the community. And with that, that's all I got. Y'all make sure you follow our boy Shane on Twitter, Double Tap the Car. Follow us on all of our unreasonably long social media stuff. Thursday night, Trucks. Friday night, Xfinity. Saturday night, Cup. And then sometime at some godly hour, F1's back there in Singapore. They changed the track layout. I think it's going to be an awesome race. There's some regulations coming that should hopefully prevent Max from running away to a 30-second lead. So we'll see what qualifying and practice looks like. But other than that, oh yes, thank God. We appreciate y'all stopping in. Thank you for catching the vibes. We got some more surprises coming, but we can't let all the cats out the bag. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.